Hey, everybody, come on into the Cajun Cooking Experience. This is Spuddy here. Man, tonight we got a good one. You know, it's the time of the year that we having bell peppers picked in our garden. You know, everybody's got their summer garden going. The tomatoes are coming along. The cucumbers are coming along. People picking green beans already. We cooked that a couple of weeks ago. Now, pretty soon, we're going to have bell peppers getting ready. And you know, plants are coming out the ground, and we're ready to get a stuffing in them. All right, Darren. There's many things that we can do with bell peppers. You can cut them up for seasoning. You can use them. Mostly like for seasoning on salads. Bell peppers are just super nutritious. So it's a dish. It's one of those fruits, because we call it a vegetable, but it's actually a fruit that we want to take advantage of because it has more vitamin C than any other vegetable on earth. Hello, Lucy. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to get this grease hot. We're going to start off with some bell peppers. Someone want to show y'all why this grease is getting hot. I always tell y'all I grind my own meat. I had a sirloin roast with some Boston butt. I had 9 pounds of sirloin roast to 4 pounds of Boston butt. So 9-to-4 ratio. I didn't want 50-50 for this. I want more of a beef taste. If you look in here, let me go down on the bottom of this pan, and you'll see the stuff that I skimmed. I skimmed that off of the beef roast. When you buy, and that's our stock that we had boiling, when you go and buy beef that's ground already in the store, all that stuff I just showed you, it's going through the grinder. Nothing wrong with it. It's not going to kill you. But you know, if I can just go a little extra step and trim it off myself and grind it myself, it's pretty good. Just a little side note on that. So let's get some onions going down here. And there's different kinds of pork you can use. I like the Boston butt. What I've done, I've trimmed a lot of the big fat off, but when I cut it, all the areas that had the big fat, I just put that for sausage. With some of the fatty pork I put for sausage. Some of the leaner pork I put in here. What'd you say, Jeremy? So we're gonna start ahead and just start sweating our onions. Man, y'all don't know how good it feels just not to have internet problem. Not to have to worry about if I'm going to be on all night or not. So where did these bell peppers come from? Bell peppers probably came a couple thousand years BC. This would have been in the Peru, you know, Central South America area, Mexico area. That's where we would have had it, and they would have been growing it there. When Columbus came over in the 1400s, what he did, he brought some of that back because he wasn't only looking for the bell peppers. Not really what he was looking for. He was looking for the peppercorn. Peppercorn was very valuable. Peppercorn was traded the way we would. It was just as valuable as our savings account, our 401k. He was coming for that peppercorn because you could buy things, you could trade peppercorn, and it was very valuable. It was something that was valued all over the world, all throughout the trade routes. Whereas the money that was printed, it may have been Spanish money. It may have been useless wherever he was. But that peppercorn, he can actually trade for that. And he was considered, if you had, the more pepper you had, the richer. You were a rich person. All right, we're going to work these onions. Now, I'm going to tell you about this stock I have here. This stock I have going, what I've done, when I cut my smoked turkey necks, I cut the very tip of them off, kind of square them off. And I use that today. I just let that boil today. Not going to put any turkey necks in my meat, in my stuffed peppers. But what it did, it gave me a little smoke flavor in here. Then I took some of my onion scraps and some celery pieces that I cut, the ends I cut off, and I also boiled that in here. So that's pretty much my stock today that I'm using. Sometimes what I would do, I would take it on do it and just pass it through the grinder. Why waste it on do it when I have these little scraps of smoked turkey neck that I can boil in this water and then actually use that as my stock? And this is going to give me that little hint of smoke, not a lot, but a little hint of smoke in these stuffed bell peppers. All right, now, all right, Sherman, one of his favorites. That's what I'm talking about. Brought my celery in and my shallot bottoms in. All right. We're just going to keep working this. And the key to this, I'm serious, is to use some good meat. If you're going to make you some bell peppers, I had a friend of mine told me the other day, he bought a pack of ground meat at the store. And what he did, he cooked it down. He actually took the pot, tilted the pot, took some paper towel, and sucked up the grease on the ground meat. You're going to see today we're not going to have a lot of grease because I can control that by the meat I'm using. I'm not using a lot of scrap in that ground meat. Once you pass it through that grinder, anything goes. So even though they may say 80-20 or it may be 90-10, I'm not going to take that nice sirloin roast and pass it through the grinder for ground meat. I'm going to take pieces that aren't going to go anywhere else or not going to sell that I'm going to pass through that grinder. And if the roast gets a little old in the store, then guess what? I'll go ahead and grind it up and pass it on as ground meat with some fat. Okay. So now some mushrooms in here. Oh, Michael. Like I say, love him some stuffed bell peppers. Stuffed bell peppers is one of those things, you're going to like them, or you're going to love them, or you're going to hate them. Some people don't like the bell peppers. Some people like halves. Some people like whole. We're going to stuff both of them. I like the halves because they fit better in the pan, easier to control, and they also fit really nice on your plate. And you can have two halves if you want. If you give somebody a whole bell pepper and they get full and they can't eat it all, they've wasted some bell pepper. Eat a half at a time. But I am going to do both of them tonight. Then also, what I'm doing tonight, I'm using all the colored bell peppers. Hey, Joanne, I do a deconstructed stuffed bell pepper casserole. Oh, man, that sounds good, Joanne. And look, if it's a casserole, I'm all in. What you say, cuz? All right, on shelf. Now, the thing about bell peppers, you know, I did a short thing. It was in 2021 was the last time I did stuffed bell peppers. And we did it with the ground meat, ground beef and pork, but I was smothering some squash. And I mixed that in the ground meat. It's anything you want it to be that you can stuff in that bell pepper. Just be creative, get stuff that you like. But use it where you keep it from the table and keep everything clean. If you're going to go through all that trouble, don't go buy canned goods. Stay away from the canned goods and keep it all natural. I had a group come here yesterday, and when people come here and talk to me about my Cajun cooking experience, one of the things I always tell them is teaching people how to cook farm to table, but still with good flavor. We're actually forgetting what real food tastes like because of the natural flavors that they put in so many processed foods. Lucy says shrimp. Oh, hell yeah. If you wanted to, you can actually throw some shrimp with that grind meat in here. But I thought about it today. I'd have thrown some shrimp in here. Definitely. Shrimp or just shrimp by itself. Shrimp and crawfish. Shrimp and grind meat. Anything you want. Hey, Sharon. All right, Ty. And what I'm going to do, I have my stock all on the side. Hey, Susan, watching Subiyoko. Let's see. I can almost smell it. Come a little closer. You're going to be able to taste it too. It's been a long time, Susan. Oh, yeah. And we'll go ahead and throw these bell peppers in. Now, look. Usually when I'm stuffing bell peppers, I usually won't add any bell peppers into my seasoning. But when I did my Cajun cooking experience yesterday for my little group, I had some left over somewhere to throw them in. All right, Donald. Hey, Jacqueline. All right. Got to get the sizzle. And let's take a look in the pot. You see all these colors coming together. And you see the onions are starting to turn brown already. So I'm going to build me a little stock in here. And that's my water. There's my stock that I'm building. I'm going to build me a little stock in here. All right, Jody. You just want to keep working these. And I get these onions brown. I'm getting that sweetness out the onions. And it's going to give these bell peppers, this meat, the stuff in the bell peppers, a good taste. Now, one of the things last week, we did one of my favorite dishes, green beans. This is an awesome, awesome dish. Take the stuffed bell peppers, serve it with some fresh cooked green beans. Man, you eating like a king. All right, Eric. Got to switch spoon. That spoon's getting hot. All right, Bobby. I'm gonna go ahead and bring my garlic in. I've got a good bit of garlic tonight. And I love chopping garlic because you get that fresh smell. So I've got a mixture. Some of it I bought chopped already. And then I took a whole clove and I went ahead and chopped that. Deborah, great dish. I can't wait to see how you make it. Love stuffed bell peppers. You know, Deborah, it's an awesome dish, and there's so many things you could put in here. Seafood stuffed bell peppers are awesome. One of the things I learned, and there was an African-American lady that cooked for me when I first started, and she wanted to make crawfish bisque. So instead of using all crawfish, what she did, she went ahead and mixed a little ground beef in it. I ground about a couple pounds of ground beef with maybe about 15 pounds of crawfish tails because she was making crawfish bisque. And I thought she was ruining it. Man, it was the best crawfish tails I've ever eaten. And a lot of what you see in the market where you see crawfish boudin, as long as you have crawfish in it, it doesn't have to be 100% crawfish. It could be crawfish and pork, crawfish and beef, anything you want it to be. But it has to have a certain percentage of what you're calling it. Bobby, dang, I smell it from Nova Scotia. Gonna make you slap your mama. Angel, I miss the green beans. That's my favorite too. Oh, I can remember. Angel, I can remember my daddy picking them green beans out the garden, mama cooking them, and he had them new potatoes. And most of the time, we didn't have to plant potatoes because Papa had the little, he planted potatoes every year. So everybody would go get for him. And what was funny is that he would just take those potatoes, never wash them, and slide them under the house and pull them out. God, my wife is good. Okay, take a look in that pot now. Hey, Norris. Good seeing you too, buddy. Norris is one of those guys that you see in my video. California. All right. Now, this is finished. I've got it as far as I want to go. We've got a good little gravy building down here. Get ready to bring it in. Dumb question. What you making? Bobby, we're making stuffed bell peppers. And we're going to take those bell peppers, all the different colors. We're going to have a rainbow of bell peppers. Jacqueline says she missed the days of the fresh stuffed bell pepper. Yes, indeed. Because, you know, when your mama made it, and she took her time in that kitchen, and it was just a long process, and this is what I'm trying to bring back. Take your time cooking. Because if you want to take your time and bring these dishes together, just layer the flavors as you go along, you're going to have a better dish. It's going to be a healthier dish, and you're just going to enjoy your food better. And if you don't have the time, just call Uber Eats or somebody and tell them to deliver something. Open a bag of potato chips. All right, Charmaine. So the reason why I like to use the different color bell peppers, number one, is that they're a rainbow of colors. And that goes back to my grandfather writing a poem about my grandmother after she died about the rainbow. So I always use a rainbow of bell peppers, and it's like they're with me when I'm cooking. Second thing, the variety of flavors. You go from the green bell pepper, which is the rawest form, which is actually the immature bell pepper. And then go down the line all the way to the red bell pepper. That's when it's ripened the best. That's when it's ripened the most. Think about a fruit. You pick it green off the bush, tomato, anything, and it's not going to have much flavor. But if you let it ripen, and I think of pears like this, if you let it ripen on a tree, there's going to be juice dripping down your mouth, and it's going to be sweet. Same thing with bell peppers. A lot of people, they don't really get into the colors of the bell pepper. I love it. I'm going to bring a little rotel in. This is very optional. You really don't have to bring the rotel if you want. If you don't want, I just like to bring a little bit in. But you can actually just leave that out if you like. If you want to bring a little tomato sauce, a little tomato paste in it, go ahead and bring it in. Don't overpower it with tomato. But it's not a bad dish if you add a little tomato, if that's what you want. Okay, now here's my mixture of beef and pork. We're going to bring this in. Now, I have a lot. I have way more than I need to stuff these bell peppers, okay? But instead of cutting this meat and trying to preserve it, I'm going to cook it down. And I can take this cooked meat, and I can vacuum pack it tomorrow, and I can have it in the freezer to make other dishes. If I want to put a casserole together, I want to make a dirty rice later on. I could take this cooked meat, add some water, bring it back, and still have all the flavors in it. Probably better because it's been frozen, vacuum packed. I'll have all those flavors in it, and I can add the water, get it to a boil, add the rice, and actually make me a good dirty rice with that same meat. So don't be scared to cook a little bit too much and put some in your freezer. Just don't forget you have it in your freezer. And that's something we all do. Okay. All right, now we just want to keep working this ground meat. So I would say the bell pepper's been grown since about 2500 BC. That's a long time ago, okay? The country that produces the most bell peppers, what do you say, Roland? The most bell peppers, by far more than anybody, is China. 17.6 tons of bell peppers a year. The next one in line is Mexico at 6 tons. So China produces more bell peppers, way more bell peppers than anybody. And that surprised me. I didn't know that. And what's ironic is that, you know, hey, Jane, thank you, brother. So, you know, we had in Southern America, we had the bell pepper. Columbus comes over, he brings it back to Europe. A few hundred years later, it comes back to European settlers and they bring in the seed back. They bring in that seed back to America. So that bell pepper went from South America to Europe and back over here. And remember, peppers were very valuable. The bell peppers are they're the ones that don't have the heat. They're not hot. Lots of land in China. You got that right, Jeremy. And I had a couple here a few weeks ago, and they were from Australia. And what he couldn't believe is, you know, we're using cayenne pepper, the ground cayenne pepper, the powder, the black pepper. And he's having a conniption fit because I'm not using peppers. You see, in Australia, he tells me we cook everything with peppers. And the peppers have the spice tonight. What's your beer parent? Man, tonight I'm going with the Beta Amber tonight. And only because it was the first one I grabbed, Paul, because usually I'm going for that Modelo dark. But as long as it's dark, I'm good. Do you use male or female peppers? Yeah. Okay. That's all I'm going to answer that. Yeah. Both are good, Paul. Hello, Elizabeth. Okay, now we just got to let this cook. And you're going to see as this cooks, we're not going to have a whole lot of grease in here. We're going to have some moisture come out. We're going to have some water come out because everything has water in it. But you're not going to have a whole lot of grease in here. That's what I want. I don't want to be over here pulling grease out and taking it out and putting it on the side. That means I have a low quality, not a very good quality ground beef. And I always like to put a little pork in mine, just to add this. Pork just gives it a little different flavor, especially when you're using a lean piece of meat like a sirloin. Now, another beef that would work real good, especially if you want to make hamburgers, meatloaf, if you want to do this, get you a brisket. Cut up a brisket and mix it with a sirloin. And so a fatty brisket, a lean sirloin, mix it together, has some really awesome flavor in it. Okay. Good little workout going on in here. Now, take a look in that pot. You can see that ground beef starting to brown. It's starting to come around. So when did When did we start stuffing things? This would have been like ancient Greece. They would have started stuffing different kinds of foods, okay? And it may not have necessarily been bell peppers, but stuffing has been around a long time. Chad, hoping my brother Dude is watching. I hope so, Deborah. Been a long time I seen Dude. Good thing you put Dude, because I forgot his name is Irvin. One thing about Louisiana, if nobody tells you somebody's real name, you know their nickname until you read their real name in the obituary. You have no clue what their real name is. So thousands of years, probably in the 15th century, you can go back to where you see some kind of proof that they were stuffing bell peppers. But BC time, they were stuffing food, using different foods, stuffing different plants, stuffing leaves, whatever it was, and they would use that to cook it. You ever mix Italian sausage with ground beef? It would be awesome, Jack. So if you're taking some good Italian sausage and mix it with the ground beef, or you could take some good pork sausage and mix it with ground beef, but Italian sausage would be very good. I've never done it, but I wouldn't hesitate to try it. I got it, Deborah. If I see him, tell him I'm going to call him Dude. Okay. And look down here. We'll go back in the pot. You see the little water coming out, but you don't see any grease building up. That's a good thing. Only grease in my hair in here is the oil I started with. Tonight I started with avocado oil. I could have started this dish with lard. Could have started with vegetable oil, anything I wanted. I go back and forth between lard and avocado oil. Both of them are really good. Okay, put a little heat under here. Hey, Sue. What's going on, Sue? Okay. And you want this dish to cook down good. Think about when you're cooking like a dressing, a farm cook, get all this moisture out of here, bring a little moisture in and keep reducing it. So it kind of starts pasting. It's kind of sticking together. You want that so that it'll go real well in your bell peppers. And you bring it out more flavor. Now, one of the things I'm going to bring a little beef base in. That's an optional thing. You don't have to bring that in. You don't have to bring the beef base in. And I added a little chicken base with it. I could have had, so I had some chicken stock in here. I just added a little bit extra with the base. And if you're going to find your base to put in, make sure you find one that's really clean. Make sure they don't have MSG and names in there that you can't pronounce. David, that's a sharp picture. Thank you, David. Man, we got picture now. It pays to have the right router. I've got equipment that I changed that I probably can start using old equipment again. Had no clue what was causing all these problems. So peppers, the bell peppers, the only one that doesn't have the heat. Or what do we call it? The capsaicin or capsicum. I'm always getting confused with that word, but that capsicum is what makes the peppers hot, okay? And that, without that, the bell peppers grow without that, they're going to have a mild flavor. But if you get into all the other peppers, they're going to have various amounts of heat. And I like the jalapeno, the cayenne peppers. I like those when I'm cooking to cut up in food. I stay away from habanero. I'm scared as hell of those. The three of us going to have to cook together when we come down for ceremony. Jeremy, that sounds like a plan, brother. All right. And one of the things when we had our group here yesterday, and there was a group of people on a fam tour, which they're getting familiar with this area to see if they want to bring people to any sites out here, is when we're cooking this, is to tell them that they're going back. People are actually learning how to cook the old way, farm the table. That's so important in today's world. Some people could care less, but more and more now, especially our next generations, they're really concerned about eating more natural. Just haven't learned how to cook it yet. And look, don't get me wrong, they still like that junk food. Okay. So you take pepper. We're going to take a peek in that pot. Pepper's like one of the earliest commodities that was traded. Throughout the Orient and through Europe. Okay? In the medieval times, pepper frequently changed hands and as rent, a dowry, and a tax. Pepper rent, they actually called it pepper rent. And it sounds like, we get all the pepper we want. We can go to the store and buy this bottle of pepper. But you know something? Back then, pepper was rare. And it was expensive. And only the wealthy could afford the pepper at one time. There was probably wars over pepper. Who knows? Now, we take all these vitamins and all that. Hey, Sharon, but if you take a little, when you make your salad every day, or sometimes during the day, whatever you eat, if you eat your little salad, slice you some pieces of bell pepper on there. It's going to give you a super abundant amount of vitamin C. Okay, time to bring the little crystal in. And I was looking at old newspapers today. All right, just a little bit, Crystal. And there was a way to stuff bell peppers 100, 150 years ago. And I'm talking about before refrigeration. And they had 3 cups of fine cut cabbage. Okay? And then after that, they had a cup of mustard seed. And then 2 tablespoons of celery seed. A half a cup of horseradish. That's a lot of horseradish. They would mix it up, stuff it in the bell pepper, put the little cap back on, tie it, and soak it in a brine solution or brine and vinegar solution. What they were doing, they were pickling that bell pepper. It was the way to preserve it. So that later on, they can actually have something that's stuffed bell pepper to eat. A little different than we do it, but it's still good. Okay. I'm going to start bringing a little seasoning in. Oh, Jody, it's coming, baby. You can see we have a lot of moisture, a lot of water in here. We'll let that cook. We're going to bring a little salt in. Now, I have no seasoning in here. I did not season this meat. One of the other things I could have done, I didn't do it because not everybody can do this. What I like to do is when I'm grinding my meat, I can actually take all my seasonings and grind it in the grinder, mix it with the meat. It does really well. I do that with my burgers, my meatloaf, hamburger steaks. I do it with all those. But if you don't have a grinder, you can't do it. That's why I just chopped everything and showed y'all tonight. The garlic, everything, just pass it through the grinder with the meat. That's what's good about having a little grinder. All right. A little loving for the cane farmers, baby. And that's that black gold right here. And this is actually what it's called, black gold. Sugar in our area was called white gold. The peppercorn was called black gold. Okay. Ooh. All right, now we just matter of letting this cook down. This is the most important part. When you get to this part, you want to just let this cook and get this water out so you can bring a little bit more in. Then, Elaine, while we're doing that, bring me the bell peppers. While this is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start parboiling these bell peppers. There's our different colors. And this is what I love. If you have just a plate, I'm not ready for that yet. You just have just a plate of the, take this one, of the green bell peppers. Kind of boring. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's kind of boring. But you go ahead and mix up the colors. It's impressive. And it stands out. It's like, pow. Okay, now, I want to just keep on cooking this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to parboil this. I'm not going to take no more than about 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm pulling this out. If you don't want to parboil it at all, you don't have to, because you're going to bake it in the oven, and it's going to pick up some moisture from this meat when you cook it, and it's going to soften up in the oven. Don't overdo it because it'll fall apart. And most of the time you're parboiling it, especially if you have the thick skin peppers, there's different kinds. There's a little kind of pepper that my buddy Bonnet gives me. It's called a Mahoney. And if you have that, it's a real thin wall. You don't have to parboil it. Great on salads, but it's made like a cone. And you put a little stuffing in there and you just bake it like that. Oh, out of sight. Elizabeth, I'm loving this recipe. Thank you. Would love to have a lesson on bringing different meals. Okay, I need to learn how to make juicy, thick cut pork chops. Just a suggestion. It's funny you say that. We got stuff. So I have to find me some real thick pork chops. And what I want to do is two things. Kind of give you an idea of how to grind your own meat for it or what to look for. So, or you can go to somebody that you really trust and you get their fresh sausage or you get deer sausage and you cut it out the casing and stuff it in there. And then go ahead and bake those, or you can smother them. I like to bake them, but you can. But first, I'll work them in the skillet first. I'll work them and make a good crust on them, and then bake them. Or you can cook them all the way in here, and you make a little mushroom gravy with that. Oh my goodness! It's like Technicolor in the pot, boy. You got that. You got that right. Let's take a look at that. Okay, there's our meat cooking. Hey, Cheyenne, and let's see. Best Stop has thick pork chop if you don't mind the drive. There you go. And you see in the pot, you see? So our water is not, well, I got to keep my fire up. I'm not going to get a boil. And I don't have to kill them. It's almost done. And this is really a personal preference, how much you want to parboil them. You know, so I like mine, I don't want mine where it's just soft and I can press it together. As soon as this water starts boiling, I'm going to pull them out, okay? David, watch it. Cajun Ginger might have the right. Whoa, I forgot about it. I said that without thinking, David. Okay. And stuffed pork chop, really, we've had them for lunch here already. They weren't a great seller. I think because people are kind of scared about buying, or what people are going to stuff them with. Really good. Stuffed pork chops and red beans, stuffed pork chops and white beans, stuffed pork chops and with some black beans, all that. I love them with beans. Don't cook your pork over 145 and it will be juicy. Okay, Michael? So, you don't cook it over to one. So if you keep it low and slow and let it cook. So when I cook my pork, especially when I'm smoking it, the highest I'll go is 200 degrees. And I'll smoke it about 10 hours. Actually, it's just cooking. But if you go to 160, 170, because I have to because of being a restaurant, it's a certain temperature we have to get internally, it'll just fall apart. It's about taking your time. You don't want to go too fast with it. David, I like the way you think, brother. I never thought to boil the peppers, so I'm trying this. Yeah, just give a little parboil, and it's going to be good. Now, bring this fire down. And what I've done, that's right, Jeremy, I got the dance moves, brother. I'm bringing in a little ice water over here, just to cool them off, so I can handle them, is the main reason. Okay, I'm ready for the other one down. And this is something to do. See, once you get it going, once you get that grind meat going, then you work your bell peppers. It's so easy. Y'all got a peek of the colors coming at you. Okay. And like I said, whether you want half or whole, that's really up to you. That's just a personal preference. How about a dance off? Hey, I'm always ready for a dance off, brother. In fact, I was on a cruise one time and actually danced a woman out of her shoes. I never saw the rest of the cruise. Okay, now let's see. Good idea to take that deer sausage out of the case and with some pork and stuff those bell peppers. Life's too short. Take the whole. There you go. So, Jack, when you're talking about the deer sausage, what I turn a lot of people on. People bring me deer meat to make deer sausage, okay? And I tell them, hey, think about making more ground meat than you make sausage. You cook sausage, you have sausage. There's only so many things you can do with sausage. But if you have ground meat, you can make anything with it. So I've talked to them, and I've gotten more people going to the ground meat side. It's seasoned. It's just like I'm ready to stuff it in the casing. And I just stuff it in the bag and vacuum pack for them. And it works really well. Okay. You look at this pot. We're losing the moisture. This is what we want. Oh, yeah. And if you look down here, okay, you see brown gravy? You see a nice brown gravy? You do not see any grease floating in this thing. And that is what I'm talking about. I'm Robert Trotspier's granddaughter. I just met you back in March. We bought some of you on doing it, and it was delicious. Thank you, Cheyenne. Can't wait to come back and buy more. Hell yeah, I can't wait. So believe me, if you're Troxler, we all related. We all came over on the first boat in St. Charles Parish from Germany. And if you take a look at that pot with the bell peppers, you can see all the little colors in there. This is what makes it. This is exciting to me. So what else is made from bell peppers? If you have dried bell peppers, what do you have? You have paprika. And in some languages, the peppers are actually called paprika. The peppers as well as the spice, okay? Oh, Lord. We get ready to taste this. Now, what I'm going to do, I have a little cheese, a little Parmesan cheese. I'm going to bring this in here. I'm not going to put a whole lot, but this will help tighten it up. This cheese is going to get all melted in there, and it's going to give it a good flavor. I like this about bell peppers, and I also, if you want, you can put a little cheese on the top of them with the breadcrumbs. Okay. You know, this will just cook in. But I do remember, Cheyenne. All right. Now. Oh, this is the time I've been waiting for. Look, I didn't put much salt in here. Hey, Melissa, I put very little salt. Turning these peppers off now. It just came to a little boil. All right. Water's still kind of boiling over here. That's it. I'm done. Especially the halves. That'll get tender really easy. Oh, my God, it's coming. Holy cow. I put a half a teaspoon of salt in there. And I can taste the salt. Now I can use a little more pepper. That's definitely a personal preference. A little black pepper, a little red pepper, and a little crystal pepper. Oh, that bottle's almost empty. We just soon finish it. David, looks like some far dressing in the pot. That's basically what you have. This is basically what we're cooking here. I'm looking, see if they got some all season up there. Only thing I got missing before would be the all season. And let me tell you, I wouldn't mind putting it in this pot and have that flavor, because that all season does a real good job. And there's my bell peppers. I'm getting ready to take those out while this is cooking. Then we're going to add a little bit of the stock back in this water. You know, this is a dish that's going to take a little time, but well worth it. Let me tell you, go. If you can't grow your own bell peppers, there's some like Sam's, Costco's, Whole Foods. They've got some really good selection of these bell peppers. They do a good job stocking these. They come like 6 in a bag, and variety of colors. And I've never had anything bad. What's fire dressing? So Elizabeth, that is a dressing, like a stuffing that you use at Christmas time. We call it fire. Or would it be, in French, it would be force meat. And it kind of, because we were German and French, that fire, because instead of force, we might have said fire. Farce. So it might have been farce meat instead of force meat. So today we call it fire. F-A-R-E. You got it right. And this is basically it. And you would take it like Elizabeth, they had weddings around here. You would have fire sandwiches, little finger sandwiches. You would also have this at every Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner. You would have that at dinner. And I'm going to tell you, if you have them at a wedding around here, those are the first sandwiches that go. They go the best. Oh, my God, that French bread's coming, brother. Okay, a little bit of that stock in. And you know, I boiled those turkey necks. I boiled the ends of the turkey neck. So I've got a lot of marrow in here, okay? A lot of smoke, because that bone picked up the smoke. There wasn't a whole lot of meat in these ends. It was just the ends. So it wasn't about the meat. It was to get that little smoke flavor. It's just right. Another thing, you have a deboned Boston butt, put them on your barbecue pit, the bones, after you finish, and smoke that and put it in the freezer. And next time you're cooking beans, red beans, white beans, throw that bone in there. You're going to have an awesome flavor. Now look, don't over smoke it and kill your beans. But you want to get a little light smoke on that bone, that Boston butt bone. I smoke all of mine. And sometimes I leave them raw and put in there. So I'll have the raw ham bone, because it's a ham bone, and then I'll have the smoked ham bone. All right. Boy, y'all know what time it is. Man, if eating gets better than this, I can't believe it. Okay, I have to let this cool off a little bit. And then, Elizabeth, if you wanted to add oysters in this and make like an oyster dressing with it, or you wanted to put oyster in here to stuff the peppers, you can do that too. Oh, Shepard, it's coming. Darren said you got a whole loaf of French bread waiting. Come on, baby, cool off. I don't want to burn my palate. Hey, thank you, Marshall. Stop it. I can't eat food. You're killing me. Oh, but listen, hang on. Oh, y'all. Man. Oh, God. Ah. This is awesome. It don't get better than this. Now, what I'm going to do is, let me get my pot out the way. My pan. Now, here's what's good about being a cook. When you're the cook, you get to pick at the food. So, if you look in this pan, put it in front of the camera. I've got this hotel pan. I've got this little screen in here. I love this because it keeps the bell peppers off the bottom. Then what I'll do is I'll bring some of this stock in here. And that'll help when you have it in the oven to steam these bell peppers also. So I like to do that. If you can get them off, or if you set them, say, boy, you got that right. If you set them in the water, just be careful that you don't overcook them because the water it's going to suck up, but it's going to keep the bell peppers moist. Oh, yes, indeed. My dream is to go down there and share a pull bar with you. Oh yeah, Mike, we got pull bars, we got beer, and we got feel good. A little parsley. Now, if I was cooking, something I would do, Elizabeth, come on. Something I would do is I would soak some of this French bread and use it as a binder in here, or you can use breadcrumbs, anything you like. You know, you can take the breadcrumbs and put in. Elizabeth says she's in. Okay, here we go. That one didn't hit the water yet. Let's start with a hole. Need a little bit more stock. Kind of drying out in here. Because I want to bring in my meat a little moist. A little bit on the moist side, okay? So that it doesn't dry out when I'm cooking it in the oven. I want it to dry, but I don't want it to be like a piece of newspaper. Oh, yeah. And you can see, if you look in here, let's go take a look in the pot. How about some of that shrimp powder? Ron, if you wanted to put that shrimp powder in here, absolutely. You see it's starting to get a little sticky right here? Okay, that's what I want. I would probably cook this. If I was doing it and I had time, we would do this for another 15 minutes, let it cook. And go back and forth with introducing a little moisture to it. Let it cook out. Keep reducing it and keep bringing it back. And every time you do that, it's going to stick a little bit better. Hey, Glenn. Okay. Now. Oh, yeah. Woo. That water was cold in that dish, just got hot. And this is the hard part. It's trying to do this without burning your hands. And as I do this, I can go ahead if I want. I can bring a little Parmesan cheese on the top. And bring a little breadcrumb on the top, okay? And then the breadcrumbs are toast when you put them in the oven. Now what I'll do is, once I bake them, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there in Space World out there so y'all can see it. Okay. Don't leave your spoon in the pot when you're doing this. And the hardest part is not to burn yourself. Okay, so, and then add a little cheese to the top. Add a little breadcrumb to the top. Okay, now, let's get one of the halves. You want to do a half? Oh, yeah, I had that little Parmesan in there, Elizabeth. You stuff that half. Easier to put it down and stuff it and not try to hold it. And the thing about the half is you're going to have more trouble keeping the meat in it. But once you bake it, you put the Parmesan and the breadcrumbs in, it's going to help bond it together, okay? There you go. So what I'll do is, I'm going to go ahead and finish stuffing these, and then I'll show y'all, I'm going to put a picture out there when it's done, okay? But this is how they look. Let's go down in the pot. You see, we've got the half, we've got the whole ones. The whole ones, you just have to make sure that they're leaning against something so they don't fall. Yeah, listen, and there they are. It is easier to stuff the whole ones than it is to stuff the half one, okay? So there's your stuffed bell pepper. Make this dish as creative as you want to make it. There's, people are going to be, when these peppers start coming in, there's going to be people wanting to give you something. But I have so many, unless it's just a bad season. But do yourself a favor. Most of the people around here, they're going to grow the green. Go get you some different colors, spruce it up a little bit. It makes a great presentation. But the difference in the flavors, you're going to have some green, which is the most immature, and the red, which is the most mature, and then, of course, your yellow and your orange in between. So, y'all, before I go, let me just take another bite of this for y'all. Oh, man. Thank you for another great cooking lesson. God bless you. Hope you have a great week. Thank you, Elizabeth. Y'all, too. So, if I don't have another job next week, being a tour guide, I'll be back next Wednesday. Not sure what we're going to cook yet. You have any suggestions? Just throw them in. Because my mind a lot of times I decide on Wednesday morning. So if you have some suggestions, go ahead and throw it in. I'm trying to get stuff that's in the garden as we get crops in the garden, is to cook these things. Yeah, Marshall, little oysters for the dressing will be all we need. I've just turned the fire off. I'm gonna start stuffing out. So thank y'all. Good night. Love y'all. God bless y'all. And we're gonna see y'all next week.
Don't get me